I think I'm live and I'm checking it out. So just bear with me for a second because it's a setup time. It's going to be a fun night. I know I'm a little late. I got a kid calling. We're going to tell her I'm not available at the moment unless it's an emergency, and then I can be available. But for this moment, I am checking to see everything's going on here. And if you're on, there we go. All right. I am. All right. So if you're coming on to this, go to Conscious Mind Tripping with Audrey Newmont on Facebook Live, and then I can see your comments. Okay. There. We have the sound off. So we're all good to go. Hello. You know, sometimes I come into this literally kicking and screaming because it's not my favorite thing to do. I don't hate it anymore, but it's not my favorite thing to do. But Spirit says you got to talk, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with some announcements. We have coming up on the 13th here at Newmont Center Psychic Fair, where we have a new addition, Gina Ann's coming on, and she's just phenomenal. You can look back on Mainstream Metaphysics with me, and she was on the show, literally just phenomenal. So that's coming up, and everybody has been bothering me about having an art class. So that's going to be coming up either the end of the July or beginning of August. And of course, we have every week Mainstream Metaphysics with Nick Newmont. We have our focus on success that is coming up with he, and he's got his class that he's teaching. And we just have a great idea that he and I are going to do a workshop together, a workshop where it's going to be open and things, and we'll also have it open to any questions. In his class on Monday night, we all got to talking, and I was sharing a few things. Nick was sharing amazing information with regard to his class, and that's what a good one. So we decided that we're going to host a workshop with the two of us. So that's coming up on the books at some point in the very near future, possibly tomorrow. And I think that's it for announcements. I don't know about you, but it's been a lot going on in the world. That last full moon, I'm telling you, people were just on the right. I mean, it was a lot. And I want to talk about a few things that have been going on. And I also want to bring up some of the things that were said in the Saturday workshop with Merlin and Golden Arrow. For those of you that missed it, that was phenomenal. And I'm just going to bring up a few things that they were talking about. And also, I'm going to be editing and making those available for people that would like to watch them. It'll be in 3 segments, one with Alexandra channeling Golden Arrow, the next one with Nick channeling Merlin, and then the third one with the two of them together. You know, it's an interesting thing when people are channeling the divine. You know, I've talked to quite a lot of people recently. They're like, what are you talking about? Nick's Merlin, Merlin's Nick. And recently I was talking with one of my clients about it, and they were like, I don't think that's, how did he say it? He said something along the line of that's not, I don't think that's right to do. It's not in the Bible or something like that. And it'd be a whole nother thing if you were channeling an entity that is on the dark side. All the people that I have ever listened to the channel, and Alexander who channeled Golden Arrow, some of the best information that I get. That's who I go to when I'm having a bad moment. And over the years, I've listened to Abraham, who was channeled by Esther Hicks. I really love Paul Selig. I think he's amazing. And this guy, Michael Racia, channels Joseph. And it's some of the best teachings. And so if you're listening to it and you think that it's in any way, shape, or form, let's just say from the dark side, just listen to what they say. Listen to what the message is and all that. Listen to what the message is. And that tells you everything right there. Like when I was learning from Abraham, channeled by Esther Hicks, that was like the door opener for me with channeled information. And now I listen to Paul Selig all the time, Michael Racy all the time, because there's always a new nugget in it. There's always some great bit of information. So on Saturday, the event was just amazing. And I'll get to what that information is. So I have my little notes on my phone here today because I need to do that because it has been very busy. In fact, I apologize for being late today. One of my clients, it was an unexpected energy session. Things were going on. It was like, you know what, we need to change tactic here. And I'm glad that I did because I'm pretty sure that they were much better leaving than they were upon entering this office. So sometimes those things come first, and I start here a little late. It's okay. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, I saw this. I look at a lot of news, and there's this thing that I saw that said "prepare for war," and there's this whole scare tactic about the possibility of to a war, these nuclear subs and all this stuff. And a lot of that is because when we prepare for war, when we're in our heart and we are preparing for something like that, literally we're creative. And so when we go into fear around it, when we start imagining what that can look like, and we start going, oh my gosh, Russia and Ukraine and this and that, and how do we become? And then our mind starts going to what that nuclear submarine could do and all of that. It's very creative. And when I say creative, what I mean by that is we're continually talking to this collective intelligence with our heart and our mind. There's amazing amounts of information about that at this point. And I see it all the time when I work with people and I see it in my own life. So when we're in a given moment, like right now, and right now, and right now, this is that moment we are powerful, where we're powerful creators. It's where that energy source, whatever you want to call it, that's when we are in the moment creating. And so when you find yourself in a moment of fear and you're preparing for war, there you are. So I have an idea. Prepare for peace. Either way is all right. But I have this imagination that's pretty crazy. I mean, goes. My imagination is a lot. I had a recent moment where my imagination was ignited by reading a book about vampires and whatnot. And I was on my solar teacher, and I thought, oh, it's my friend's relative's book. And I'll read it. Just have a moment where I'm like doing something different and in the world. So I'm reading this first chapter, and I was like, wow, that's a lot. Well, that night, of course, I'm sleeping by myself in the woods, and lo and behold, I start dreaming about vampires. that that's what I'm talking about. We are creative. So in our dreams, there's this part where we're venting in our dreams things that are going on in our mind. And there it was. So I put that book down and I'm not going to read it anymore. But I appreciated the writing. It was very good. But my little too imaginative in my mind to do that. But when you're in your mind imagining, there is this part of prepare for war or prepare for peace. So when I'm imagining peace, there's a part of it where I'm imagining a lot of the stuff that is divisive getting sorted out, a lot of these things that have been covert being revealed. I'm imagining people realigning themselves in a new way of being together that is best in interest for humanity. So when you're in your mind, you can go either way. You can go either way. It's a choice, and you're in the choice point. So this brings up something that was said in session, and this person usually doesn't mind me bringing up. So I'm gonna obviously it's all anonymous, but in the conversation that I was having with this person, I said, "Yeah, I see all of this stuff, and in the midst of it, I'm preparing for the worst. I can see the best, and I'm preparing for the worst." And this is what I wrote it down. I hope for the best and plan for the worst. So when you're in that hoping for the best, but then you're planning for the worst, the planning for the worst is that part that takes over. So if you're hoping for the best and you're planning for the worst, you're not having faith in the best. You're not having that I'm doing this thing. It's like I'm planning for the worst. So I'm literally my mind, my attention, and the intention and the perception, all those rollers is on I'm planning for the worst. And so it was an interesting moment in the session where it was like, and this person says, "You're not wrong." And so it's all of this is what we have been trained to do. We've just been trained to do it. We have been trained to plan for the worst. We have been trained to prepare for war. I mean, for a lot of years. I mean, look back at the 50s. They had bunkers. They had different things that they were doing because, heaven forbid, we might go to war. So it's important to really catch yourself when you are preparing for anything. So when you hope for the best, prepare for the best, plan for the best. And if something comes and it gives you a curveball, realign and realign and realign. That part of planning for the worst, that's creative. And to be clear, I've seen it happen a lot of times when people plan for the worst. They have these things happen. All right, now I can see your messages. So this person says, "Hi, Kendall. What's the weird energy of the last 2 weeks? What's with the weird energy of the last 2 weeks?" Right? A lot going on. There's a lot going on. So what's with the weird energy? Part of it was that was a pretty amazing full moon, which can bring up people's emotions a lot. But also, we're all connected in this intelligent universe. So when things are going on in various places, there's a lot of covert things that are going on. It's not that we're immune to it. We feel it, we sense it, and sometimes we hear about it. And there's a part of us where we're like, "Oh, that can't be real. That can't be happening." And we go through a thing called consciousness. So when we're feeling the energies of what's going on in the world right now, it's a lot. There's a whole bunch of things that are happening that many people aren't talking about, and you're not on your usual kind of news. But there's a lot that's getting revealed at the moment, and some of it can be scary for people. You know, I'm gonna go back to some of my basic stuff that I've talked about in workshops before. When we are feeling our feelings, like the electromagnetic energy from our heart is creating within our body. So when we're in fear, when we're in anxiety, when we're in whatever, we're literally talking to the 50 trillion cells that make up who we are, and it's energetic. And so in that energetic, the energy leaves the center and it goes to the extremities, and we do the fight, flight, freeze, and sometimes chronic. And along with that, our heart, when we're feeling those feelings, whether you're acknowledging them or they're subconscious, it's a moment. So there's a lot of people that are afraid of what's going on with the economy right now. There's a lot of people that are angry about things. There's a lot of people that are pushing those emotions down. I don't want to see it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to go there. And when we're all collectively in this moment of, wow, what's going to happen? And this election is coming up. And we're looking at this stuff with the people who are up for election and going, this is just like a shit show, because on a lot of levels it is. It's like, here's an analogy. It's like we're the kids in the backseat, and the people who have been our parents, who have been running the country for the longest time, we're looking at it and it's like, what they're doing doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like things have gone from bad to worse to worse to worse. I mean, just the stuff that's happening with our border and all these people coming in and all the things that are going on just with that piece alone, it's like a lot. So as we're all in the back seat, we're looking at these people who are our, let's just have it for fun, our parents. There's a part of it where it's like, what's going to happen? And so there's that element of not being assured that our world is moving in a way that is great for everybody. So we energetically feel it. We energetically are tuned into it, but maybe not so aware of it. But when we go into an overload of emotion and we're all collectively feeling these things, everybody gets affected. One of the ways that I show people of how this looks is like we're producing that electromagnetic energy, and up there in the orbit, they've got these satellites that are monitoring electromagnetic energy on the planet, this energy soup that we're all swimming in. So as they're monitoring all of this, there's this day that they're looking at it and the thing goes off the charts. It's like whoosh. It's like electromagnetic on the planet G. It was like a surge. And you can look up the Schumann resonance. It's the energy of the planet. And so on this particular day, they're looking at it and it was like an emotional overload for all of us. That day was not, and so we were feeling our rage. We were feeling we were feeling all of this grief. We were feeling an overload of emotion. So when we're in a moment like right now, where there's a lot going on, it's important for us to really step back and be grounded and centered, focused, and really be in a moment with ourselves where we're checking in. How am I? What's going on with me? And we're in a moment of, instead of hoping for the best, we're planning for the best. Like here in California, we're always prepared because heaven forbid there should be an earthquake or a fire. So we're planning for the best outcome in whatever scenario happens. So that gives a good sense of calm. That gives a sense of, if whatever happens, I'm prepared as well as I can be. So I'm going to be grounded and centered and focused and trust that the best is happening. Like for the longest time, I've lived here since I was in my early 20s and I'm almost 62. And so I've always been prepared since that big earthquake hit, and I wasn't so prepared, or I'm as prepared as I could be and should be at the moment. So if something happens, it's okay, but I don't focus on it. I don't keep my attention. Oh my God, what if there's an earthquake? Which, by the way, I used to do that fairly often. It used to scare me. It used to terrify me. And then it kept not happening. We kept not having a bad earthquake, kept not having a bad earthquake. And I finally was like, you know what? If we have a bad earthquake, I'll deal with it when it comes. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare for the best and hope for the best. and trust that if anything happens, I am all right. My family's all right. We're working through whatever could possibly happen, which is what we can all be doing in this moment. But when you have those unconscious things and these feelings that come up and we're suppressing those feelings, it's not that they're not creative. It's just like, I don't want to look at it. So I'm putting my car over there. You can't see my car over here. And I'm going to take the other car that's distracting me. A lot of people right now are distracted with gaming. They're distracted with maybe watching TV. Drugs, alcohol is a big thing. We're just checking out because it's like it's a lot of energy to deal with all this stuff. So it's really important to get, as we're all swimming in this energetic soup, I am in my own little bubble. I'm driving my car to the best of my ability. Like for an example, we're all driving on the freeways. I don't know about you guys, but you, people are zipping in and out of traffic. Like, I mean, this guy, he must have come this far from me a couple days ago, and I was like, what? Oh, I mean, in those moments, what I do is I keep myself grounded and centered, and I drive well behind people, and I know that I am in my little bubble of immunity. I'm good until I know otherwise. And you know what? I've got Source driving the car with me, so I'm divinely protected at all times until I know otherwise. And up to this point, I don't know otherwise. And so when you're talking about this weird energy of the last 2 weeks, as we get more and more up to the election, I think there's going to be even more weirdness. I'll give you another example. My daughter and I were going to a concert a couple weeks ago. This was really disturbing for us. My daughter is just about to be 21, and we were just both like, oh, wow. So we're driving on the freeway. There was this young adult. He was in his early 20s, and he's literally in his knees, ankles. He's obviously out of his mind. He had no other clothes on. And he's in the middle of the freeway, and these cars are going past him. And we were both like, wow. You could tell he was just out of his mind. And it was like disturbing. And so we were like, should we call the police? And then we started hearing sirens, and we were trusting that that he was getting, that he, you know, really held him in the highest in the moment. But we were both like, wow, this is like, you just don't see that every day. I've never seen that in my 62 years. You see homeless people, you see this and that. But I mean, this kid looked like he could have been one of her friends. He didn't look like he was homeless. He just looked like he was like having a really bad trip in his weird energy. And then she went somewhere in Santa Monica a couple nights ago, and we had her and her friends. This woman just jumped out of nowhere and in front of their car, and literally they didn't stop, like hit their car, and she was saying, you're hitting me. And it's just like, again, another person out of their mind. And I told her, I said, at this point in time, you really want to keep yourself in a situation at all times where you're not going into areas where people are a little bit more in, let's just say, out of their minds. Like, for instance, you go to Hollywood, there's a lot of people who are struggling right now. And it's like when people are struggling and they're out of their minds and they're doing drugs or whatever, you really want to circumvent and maybe do something that you can't do for the highest or support them in whatever way to get some help. But when you're looking at what's going on right now, you create it in your own life. So if you see weird energies going on around you, it's almost like that thing that I tell people about. It's like if there's a hurricane going on around you, you keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times. I'm okay. And I'm trusting that my family's okay. I'm trusting that my friends are okay. I'm trusting that whatever that is, that helps to bring you to that point where you're creating from best and highest you and you know, when you're in the eye of the hurricane, that's that calm space. So when you're in that calm space and you're grounded and you're centered and focused, and you're recognizing I'm all right, that's the best thing, highest that you can do in that moment. So as things are a little chaotic, it's important to recognize and keep grounded with what are my feelings right now? Am I in fear? Am I angry? Am I worried? Am I stressed? Anxious is a big one for people. So usually when people are anxious, they're imagining preparing for war. So when you are doing that, it of course will cause anxiety. So as you're preparing for peace and you're imagining that and you being in the eye of the hurricane, that's creative as well. Can't change what people do in certain ways, but we can hold it in the highest. And that's powerful. That's very powerful. I went off on a little. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about what De Niro and Merlin were talking about the other night. And as we're looking at this time, one thing that they did say, and I don't think I put it in my notes, but I'm going to say it. They're basically saying that this is a turbulent time that we're going through. It's not going to look like a World War III. And just that knowing and holding on to that, I think is a big deal because I'm telling you, there's so much that people are throwing out there that will put you into fear. And so hold in your mind that it's a turbulent time to I want you to think about it this way. That hurricane that I was talking about, imagine that the hurricane is literally getting rid of and blowing out the things that have been destructive, because there have been things that have been destructive for all of us for a long time. And there's been people who have been manipulating things in such a way for a while now that have not been in our best interest. And it's all coming to a head. It's like the pendulum is really swinging, and there are things that are getting revealed that the hurricane is blowing it out. So when we stay in the eye of the hurricane, we're riding out the storms. We see what's going on around us, and we're not putting our hands in the windows and grabbing onto. So the hurricane is clearing out that which doesn't serve us anymore. So when you are keeping your attention there, then you're in the choice point, and then you're in a power place. So you can be in that place and trust this isn't what some people are saying. I'm going to hold that we're finding a way to the end of the storm, and that rainbow is happening. That rainbow where things are moving to a whole another expression that we as humanity are creating. There's a lot of people who are talking about the good that's happened and the future that is being created at this point for humanity. So I look at that. I look at that timeline, and that's what I'm. That's what I want. That's where I focus my and so if you're able to do that, there you are. And in your body, it's a powerful place to create. I'm going to back up just a little bit, not say as much of what's going on with Merlin and Bolsonaro because I have another situation with a client, and it's just a powerful example of how we create in our body. And I'm not going to go into the details as much, but this person has had a massive health challenge, massive. And it has been on an emotional, mental, and physical level where it's just been debilitating. So I've got this person in my office, and he's got a situation, some situation going with regard to his body. And so as we're in the conversation and he's got this situation, it was fascinating. It's so powerful how the situation that he's got going on, his wife says, "Oh, you know what? That's something that you were worried about." So back here, he's worried that will happen. And there was no indication at all that this would be his situation, no indication at all. But when we worry about something that's regarding our body, you're literally talking to your body all the time. So when we're worried about something and we're imagining, oh my gosh, what if this happens? The body's going, oh, is that the trajectory that we're going through? Is that the timeline we're creating? Nothing wrong with it, nothing bad about it, but it's important to catch yourself if you are going to worry that this scenario could happen. I see it all the time. And I mean, I see it from way back when I first started working with people as a hairstylist. People would come in 1 month and they would, God, I hate my job, or my partner is this or that, and I don't like what's going on in my life. It was a matter of time before they would come in next month, maybe the next month, whenever. I don't have my job anymore. I don't have my partner anymore. It's no accidents. We create these things. And so it's important to catch, what are we thinking? What are you feeling? Realign it, prepare for the best. So one thing I love Alexander at Golden Arrow. So I'm going back to that stuff now. And I wrote, they say all the time, straight from our golden arrow to your heart. So when they're giving you information, it's like it's a piercing of information, and they're literally energetically, you know, talking to our heart. And I love that they said that. And then Golden Arrow also said, no one can criticize or judge you but you. Think about that. I thought that was a powerful, just little one liner. No one can criticize or judge you but you. And that is accurate. People can say whatever they say. Anybody can say whatever about you. If you allow it, if you believe it, if you make it your truth, then it's you doing it. You hear something and there you are, criticizing and judging yourself. Like, people will say things about me. People maybe will look at this video and be like, whatever they say. I really don't care at this point. It just doesn't have any effect on me because I'm just supposed to be here doing what I say, saying what I do, doing whatever this thing is. And it's not about me. I'm just sharing information. So if people have things to say about me in my life and they say it to me, then I can look at it. Do I need to realign myself? Do I need to adjust things? Because I'm not perfect. I'm imperfectly perfect. And there's things that I get to learn in life. So if there is somebody who's got something to say and they come to my face, I'm not even going to judge myself in that. It's something that just needs to be realigned. So no one can criticize you or judge you but you. So if you're feeling criticized, step back. Is there any truth to it? Why does it matter? You start doing the critical thinking questions to reason it out, to look at more logic with it, to be more consciously, what is this thing? It's a lesson to me. There's something I need to learn. If somebody's criticizing me and it affects me, what is it? What do I get to do here? How do I realign myself? So you, in the criticizing or judging of yourself, it's more of a tool to figure out what is that I'm unconsciously doing. or if I'm doing something and I'm bothered by somebody else, is it important? Does it matter? Is it the other person and their stuff? Sometimes it is. Sometimes people come from a place of being jealous or angry or frustrated in their own life. They've got whatever going on and they use you as a mirror. So there's that critical thinking that we do instead of just going on the victimization loop and getting affected by criticizing or they're judging. You step back and it's like, what is this to teach me? What do I need to learn here? And then Merlin said, the path is all around you, not straight. That was cool too. So sometimes we think in our life, it's like, I need to go here. Like, as an example, I'm thinking of somebody in my mind who, how do I say this? They were in a session with me, and I was like, well, maybe you could do this or that. You know, I'm looking at different options to circumvent what was happening with regard to them. And they were like, no, this is what I have to do, and this is it. This is why. This is it. And it was like, okay, so how is that going to make everything in your life work? And I know I'm being a little vague here, but I don't want to go into details because this is somebody's life I'm talking about. Well, long story short, that path, that straight path created more, let's just call it drama, trauma, dis-ease, or whatever the thing is. When you're in a moment and you want to be very, no, this is what I have to do, sometimes it's a good idea to step back and look at there's a whole bunch of different paths that you can take. When we're flexible, when we're in the flow of life, because part of it was like, no, there's this, what's the word I want to use for it? When all I can say is it's like if you're I have a picture in the room and it's a stream and it says go as the flow. I put that on the words on this picture. When you're able to go around the boulders of life, you're able to find those other solutions. When you're open to the source guiding you in those hard moments, and you're open to another suggestion, and you're allowing the opportunity to be in that flow of it, there's a lot of grace there. There's a lot of opportunity there. But when we think there's this one line, it's like it's a lot to stay on that line. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote here, see all around you, educated to believe everything is linear. Problem solutions. I wrote solutions. To rise, this was a good one. These are all Merlin's comments. Oh, this part where it says, see all around you, we've been educated to believe everything is linear. And so, with regard to time as well, when you are in the moment, you're in that choice point. Always, always in every moment, you're in that choice point. So, you're looking at things from a larger scale, like a larger opportunity. And so, then he said, this was a good, to rise, you must let go of what encumbers you. So, can't express how much people wanna hold on to what's familiar, what they know, or like a relationship. It's like, I put so much time and effort into this. I don't wanna give up all that time and effort. Or, you know what, I just don't know where else I wanna go or what I wanna do. And so they hold on to that thing that's familiar, whether it's a job, a love life, a home, you know, various things that we hold on to. So when you allow yourself to let go. Like, for instance, let's just leave it at a relationship. The amount of people that I've worked with that stay in a relationship that is abusive, however the abuse looks, and they're just not happy, but they don't wanna let go of it because of whatever, family, friends, money, just letting go of a home in that relationship or whatever the thing is. They stay in that thing, not realizing that if you let that go and you're open to your best and highest happening, I see it all the time when people do let go. It's like, "Wow, I have this great new relationship, and it's like so much more than I ever dreamed of." And the other person is able to be in a great relationship, however that looks. But like you say here, to rise, to be in your joy, to be in your abundance, to be in those things, sometimes we have to let go of whatever that looks like. So look at your life at the moment. Are you holding on to something that isn't working? Are you holding on to something that's creating an avenue where you're not happy, where you're not healthy, where you're not abundant, where you're not in love? The opportunity, the suggestion, the possibility is sit down and look at it, do that fear into power. What's the feeling around it? And more importantly, why am I holding on to this? So you start doing those critical thinking questions. Was this the parents in the front seat? Is this what I learned a relationship looks like? Is it whatever? I mean, you look at it, you can ask yourself those why, when, where, what, how questions. You can look at your timeline. For myself, as an example, back when I was a kid, my timeline, I did not learn what a great relationship looked like. My mother was divorced, and then she married somebody who was, let's say, emotionally bankrupt, and I never really got that picture of a great relationship. So, in my timeline, I'm looking at it, why would I stay in a bad relationship? Because I then went from a bad relationship to another bad relationship, and then I married in a bad relationship, and then after that, I got into a bad relationship, and I knew he was over it 6 months and went on another 2.5 years before he and I got together. But when you're looking at it, it's like, why would I do that? Because I didn't know. I had no point of reference. And so as I was able to let go of those things, learn from them, gain that wisdom, then I was open to having the experience with Nick that has been an excellent relationship. So when Merlin's saying you have to let go of what encumbers you, part of it is looking at your timeline and understanding, why do I do this? And letting go of the beliefs around why you do it. Letting go of whatever those look like. And it's a process. But when you let go of what no longer serves you, that leaves you open to having the love of your life, starting with you and the relationship, having all of the abundance, the joy, the healthy body. It's funny, real quick, because I see it's 6:57 already. That thing with the healthy body, I was just talking with a friend of mine here. And we were talking about all these new modalities for healing. And I was explaining to him that when I was 50, I was a lot sicker than I am now at almost 62. And I was explaining to him I had to let go of certain beliefs around my body. I had to let go of actions that I was doing. I had to let go of an old career. I had to of what eating things that I've been doing to rise and have this very healthy body. And so when you're looking at look at the 4 corners of your life, your love, your abundance, success, and your joy. Are they want them to be? and do critical thinking around it. Look at your timeline. All of it's learned. All of it is learned. All of it is belief. And so when you are willing to let go, sometimes it feels a little scary. I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. Or it's a lot to do it. I mean, some of those things that I do with regard to the body, I don't want to let go of some of that stuff. But I did because every time I would do it, I would feel worse. So what's more important, feeling good or eating, drinking, whatever, something that just makes you feel good. And so you learn a new way to appreciate the eating, drinking, and the things that you do that feel good. So you're relaxing and owning a whole new structure of your life. See if I have time to read this last little bit. I just like the last line. We're going to end with this one. Healing is in laughter. So part of your homework for this week, find anything that makes you laugh, anything. I have a friend of mine who is very amusing. You can look him up online. Craig Shoemaker, the Love Master. He makes me laugh like hard. But watch light, fun movies. Go out with your friends and play games. Do fun things that make you laugh, that make you smile. Go find some time with my little girl makes me laugh like crazy. She's so amazing. So go find something that brings up the lightness in your heart. And when you're in the midst of these, as Kendall says, the weird energy that's going on, you're greater than the weird energy, are the light that shines through you. So when you are owning your power to be present in the given moment, and you are having that laughter, having that love, rising, there you are. You affect the world when you do that. So go laugh this week. Go rise this week. Go have fun. And it's 7 o'clock. I'll be back next week on Wednesday. And in the meantime, just know I love you very, very much and have a good